Now, with only 41 days to the event, there is a growing concern over security in London following a string of attacks. But as Richard Bestic now reports, IAAF President Sebastian Coe has sought to calm any fears, saying he has confidence in London's security.
Well, here it is, the iconic Queen Elizabeth Stadium, currently tuning up for a Robbie Williams concert, but probably more famous for the 2012 Olympics, and soon to burnish its international reputation with a summer of world athletics. However, you can't ignore the fact that it's been a bad time for Britain, with terror and tragedy in equal measure. So how safe is this place? Well, the IAAF President Sebastian Coe says he's very confident the security here is good, and possibly he should know, as he had an up-close and personal view over operations during the 2012 Olympics. And in fairness, London has experience with a number of big sporting events. Think Wimbledon, Wembley, and the home of English rugby, Twickenham. Following the terror outrages in Manchester and London, Scotland Yard says it has carried out a full review of operations for all special events in the UK capital, with increased policing levels and a range of different tactics. That said, the UK's main terror threat remains at a second highest level of severe, which means an attack is, quote, highly likely. For some, that may be enough to stay away. For others, the sporting drama will prove too much of a temptation, because if you include the IAAF World Championships, in July and August, the Queen Elizabeth Stadium here is playing host to some 245 events over 20 days of sports, with more than 3,000 athletes coming from around the world. It should be quite a sporting spectacle. Richard Bestic, CGTN, London.
Right now, for more on this and looking ahead to East Africa's challenge at the London Championships, I'm now joined in studio by Kenyan athletics coach Bernard Ouma. Bernard, thank you for joining us. Now, of course, looking at Kenya's chances, some of the new faces in the team are in the men's 5,000 meters discipline. Of course, Kenya didn't do very well in that distance, looking back at the Rio Olympic Games. Can the country now expect maybe improved results this time around from men who probably have very little championship experience?
I won't call it the experience as such, and it's good to have new faces as well. Well, this is a transition, and you know Kenya is very rich in terms of athletes coming up. One of the athletes who won, this is Ruto, who won the 5,000 meters, was third in Rio's trial. So this is a very good upcoming athlete. The second person is transiting from junior to the senior category, and he was a bronze medalist in the junior. So these are good athletes, and this is a very good platform for them. And as coaches as well, me being one of the coaches to London, we have ample time to do proper preparation and fine-tuning to make sure we offer good challenge to the world as well in terms of 5,000 meters.
All right, looking ahead now to the championships, obviously, do you see maybe both Kenya and Ethiopia, both huge athletics powerhouses, reclaiming their place in the 5,000 and 10,000 meters disciplines, especially knowing that they're coming up against Mo Farah?
I know the process might be slow because you got dominant and seasonal athletes like Mo Farah, but these boys are very young and with the energy, new energy coming, and with a dream to prosper. Anything is possible, but we'll do a lot of analysis as we go along with the training towards the championships in August.
All right, and it seems every time you're here we ask you this question, but Kenya has obviously been dogged time and again by these allegations of doping. Do you think that the efforts the country is making, for example, at the trials, are enough to alleviate suspicion from its athletes?
Yeah, there is. We have conditions that we are being met and spearheaded by Athletics Kenya. These are being fronted by WADA through RADO, and WADA is the World Anti-Doping Agency. RADO is the regional, then the national, which we call ADAC, Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya. We got a number of seminars in terms of sensitization of our athletes. This is to tell them what is doping actually. Because in Kenya, doping is a little bit of isolated cases. This is not systematically done. So the gray area was to educate athlete to understand what doping is. And some of the conditions we were given by WADA is 3 tests before the World Championships. And this is being done randomly. I'm in charge of the number of athletes and getting calls from ADAC and WADA as well. And athletes are being tested as a formality for them to qualify for the World Championships. So Kenya is on the right track, and very soon this will be out of the way. And the system is going very well.
All right, and finally, maybe looking ahead to the championships. In 2012, we saw David Rudisha break a record. Looking ahead as a coach and somebody who's interacted with plenty of athletes, is this something we can expect in London this time around?
Very few records are broken in championships, because championships is more of a stage event, starting from the heats, semis to the final. So majority of athletes, and breaking a record in a championship is exceptional. This requires a different state. Majority of athletes take it slowly to go through to the final. So anything to do with the records, I'll be hesitant to say. But a number of attempts are being done in Monaco is very fast. Some few athletes have called for records. It might not. One of them is Elijah Manangoi asking for 1500 meters world record. I happen to be the coach of Manangoi as well. Yes, we can attempt, but not in championships. Rudisha's record was one of his own kind to be broken in an Olympic. However, we're going back to the same stadium. Yeah.
All right, Coach, thank you very much for that insight, and all the best to you and your team at the London Championships. That was Coach Bernard Ouma, no stranger to this show, and a Kenyan athletics coach joining us here in Nairobi.